You grew up told the world would be yours, but what if the world you inherited is on fire? What if your greatest battle isn't persuading someone to like your photo, but convincing yourself you still belong? This is Generation Z. We're the ones born into a digital storm, raised amidst global crises, haunted by uncertainty, yet refusing to stay silent. This isn't a blame song, it's a story of survival, resistance, and a generation refusing to fold. In this video, I'm going deep, not with fluff, but with facts, pain, and hope. Let's start. Let's define who we're talking about. Gen Z usually includes those born between 1997 and 2012, right now, aged roughly 13 to 28. We grew up on the cusp of two worlds, the fading analog, and the rising digital. We're digital natives. Phones, screens, social media were never new, they've always been part of daily life. But that same digital world brings truth and terror in equal measure. Here's what research shows us. Over 91% of Gen Z report experiencing stress or anxiety symptoms. Many of us face eco-anxiety, fear over climate breakdown, rising sea levels, extreme weather. In surveys across many countries, our top worries include cost of living, mental health, unemployment, and environmental collapse. We also demand more from institutions. We expect brands, governments, schools to take stands, to do more than surface-level virtue signaling. So yes, we live in a world stacked against us, but also one we're trying to fix, in real time. Nothing shapes a generation more than its internal war. For us, that war is mental health. Facts you can't ignore. We're more likely than older generations to report anxiety, depression, emotional instability. Many of us want help, but can't afford it. One survey found Gen Z is the most likely to say they lack access to affordable mental health care. We also carry more guilt, more pressure, more expectation to perform online, all while real life punishes us with inflation, unstable jobs, and patience worn thin. The screaming silence is real. People skip meals, skip rest, skip therapy, because even self-care can feel like a luxury. But listen, you are not alone. This generation is shifting stigma, talking these things out, and building tools for healing. We're turning shame into conversation, pain into art, suffering into solidarity. Now let's talk money, because wanting to dream is hard when your bank balance whispers fear. Here's reality. Many Gen Zers worry more about having enough money than having enough likes. The cost of housing, tuition, healthcare, daily living, they're just rising too fast. Some data show Gen Z is already trailing in credit scores. In 2025, Gen Z's average credit score in the US is 676, significantly below the national average of 715. Facing debt, we delay moving out, starting families, investing, even thinking big. Here's the real sting: you can work harder, hustle non-stop, but sometimes the system is the hurdle. And many of us feel that daily, the walls closing in while we try to breathe. But here's where grit meets purpose. The generation that's told they're too soft is becoming experts in survival economy. Micro-businesses, side hustles, creator economies, we find ways. If money is the external fight, information and identity is the internal battlefield. We live in an age of overload. Fake news, conspiracy, algorithmic traps. Gen Z doesn't just consume information, we question it, dissect it. We're learning information sensibility, treating every headline, every tweet, as a test. But it's exhausting. Social media, our connection, our weapon, our prison. The very platforms that let us speak also punish us with comparison, cancel culture, identity fatigue. Many feel they're acting on stage, a persona online, a mask in real life. Identity, gender, sexuality, culture, race, all of it is fluid, evolving. And many of us still wrestle with not fitting, pre-made boxes. This is a generation that doesn't just demand visibility, we build it ourselves. We reclaim narratives. We amplify hidden voices. But doing that costs energy, vulnerability, and sometimes scars. Maybe the most beautiful thing about our generation is this: we haven't checked out. We fight. Why it matters. Gen Z is leading protests across the globe. In 2025 Nepal, Gen Z students and youth protested corruption, social media bans, demanding accountability. Gen Z activism spans climate marches, reproductive rights, racial justice, and digital rights. Organizations like Gen Z for Change are using social media to turn awareness into action. Yes, we're angry, but we're also strategic. We're building networks, mobilizing online and offline, calling out hypocrisy. We demand more than promises. This is where costumes of hopelessness fall away, where the personal becomes political, where we stop waiting and start pushing. If you think we're just angry or naive, you're wrong. We're pulled in thousands of directions. Some contradictions we carry. We love justice, but sometimes we also prioritize survival. We want global change, but we also pray someone saves us. We demand institutions reform, yet we also distrust institutions deeply. We crave connection, yet many feel alone in rooms full of faces. We are fighters and doubters, fiercely idealistic and painfully real. We burn out, we break, we cry, and then we show up again. Because even when it's heavy, even when it's wild, we refuse to vanish quietly. Now, I want you to feel this: we are not victims. Not by default. But survivors by design. Where we find hope. In art, poetry, music, memes, videos, out of pain we create. In community, organizing, group chats, mutual aid. In small wins, a side hustle that pays rent, in the fact. Expectations were never kind. Our parents, teachers, society told us to prepare, to stay safe, to be responsible. But this generation? We were born in crisis, financial crashes, climate fears, pandemic. What did safe ever look like? So we push. Not just for success, but for validation. For proof that we exist. That we matter. And that push sometimes breaks us. Irony: we're the most connected generation ever, and often the loneliest. Social media gives us community, visibility, voice, but also filters, detachment, endless noise. Studies show Gen Z consumes news more than any other group. Yet 6 in 10 say current events overwhelm them. We follow activists, influencers, journalists. We read fast, we react fast, yet the weight of it all, injustice, war, crises, presses on us daily. Meanwhile, many feel they don't get enough real human contact. Loneliness isn't just emotional, it cuts into our self-worth, our creativity, our drive. Some hide behind screens. Some turn off everything. Some lean in. But the question remains: who's really seeing us? One of the heaviest shadows over our generation is climate anxiety. We watch ice caps melt on our feed. We hear climate disasters, floods, fires. We learn that some parts of the planet will soon be unlivable. And we're not apathetic, far from it. We're haunted, angry, and mobilizing. Yet often our voice is ridiculed: you're too young to worry. You're being dramatic. But every day is a reminder that for us, this is real life. The world we'll inherit may not look like what came before. So we act. We demand policies. We push systems. We try to save what we can, even when it feels too late. Identity, who we are, is constantly being negotiated. Race, gender, sexuality, mental health, neurodiversity, many of us live at intersections society still doesn't fully see. We expect more, not just token representation, but full inclusion. Not just statements, but structural changes. We see injustice, and we name it. We see hypocrisy, and we call it out. But the cost: backlash. Cancel culture. Accusations of oversensitivity. Being too much. For many, belonging is a fight. A negotiation between inner truth and external acceptance. Yet through that fight, communities form, small, tight groups that see us fully. That understand. That lift us when we fall. So how do we survive? We learn to lean on each other, stand with someone today. Share your truth. Create something, even if it's small. Show up for the future you deserve. Let's turn overwhelm into direction. Let's turn fear into purpose. Let the world try to contend with us, because we're not fading quietly. This is Gen Z. We are loud. We are hurting. We are hopeful. And we are coming.